Hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome back to Campaign Friday, and I'm going back to the One Ring. So let's get over to our cool Moria map here. That's a much better background. Right, so didn't play last week because I was visiting family Friday last week. And so I've not thought about this game at all in the last 2 weeks, so we'll be remembering this together. I did play on Monday. I played some Morkin, which is a kind of solo hex crawler. That was quite fun. I'll be continuing Morkin on Monday next week, and probably for a few weeks after. But today is the One Ring, specifically Moria. The Moria supplement for the One Ring, with its cool solo rules for running a band of dwarves. So let's meet our band of dwarves again. Who do we have? So the main player character we've got is Hon. You can see we have this beautiful artistic rendition here of Hon. And Hon is the leader of our band. They're our main character. If they die, that's it. That's kind of game over. And they lead a group of 8 other dwarves, some of whom have proven themselves in battle, some of whom are yet to prove themselves, but we hope that will come soon. And those are Anar. He is a smith. He always carries metalworking tools with him. He's also always scribbling in a journal, and when we have a bit of downtime, he takes comfort from working in the forge. That's how he works out his stress. We have Ostri, who is an artist, but has grisly battle scars, and he uses his artistic talent and his charcoal and parchment to always draw out orc damage that he sees, so he knows what needs to be fixed when Moria has been reclaimed by the dwarves. We have Toki, who is a climber. He always has rope and pinions. He is good at covering difficult terrain, scaling walls, that sort of thing. And he has a braided beard down to his knees, and he is very fastidious about maintaining his gear. Some say his rope is made of dwarf hair, but Toki will neither confirm nor deny this allegation. We have Brock. He is very, very charismatic, and he is, despite that, somehow constantly covered in soot and grime. So just picture like a Victorian chimney sweep from like a Charles Dickens story or something. That sort of character. I feel very chipper, very like, what's the word? Very like working class, very much one of the people, and that's where he gets his charm from. We have Dari, who is battle-tested. He carries a famous weapon. He is from a famous family. But because of that, he's a bit over-eager to please. He feels he has to prove himself. And he has proven himself. So Dari is a hardened character, which means we get a slight bonus when he is on the team. We have Eerie, who is a gemhound. He is very good at finding valuables. He always carries around a well-worn tankard on his belt, and he dreams one day of raising this tankard in feast in a restored Moria. Eerie is also a hardened character, and Eerie has a kingly gift, as it is called. He has a magic item with him that we have found from a previous adventure and given to him. He has a silver necklace of such surpassing craftsmanship and delicacy that it inspires a blessing of craft in those who study it. So, were Eerie to do something related to craft, he would be able to use this to get a bonus on rolls. We have Var 2, so named because the first Var in the party died, and this is possibly a relative, who knows, maybe all the children of this family are called Var. Var is a kind of sinister person. He lurks in the shadows, he is very light on his feet, he moves around unseen, and he has a shield adorned with battle trophies. He enjoys creeping up to his enemies and seeing the light fade from their eyes. He likes them to know it was him. And finally we have Litir, who in battle is gripped with a grim fury. He has a fearsome rage, he is merciless, and he's also hard of hearing, perhaps due to being clobbered around the helmet a few too many times. Those are our dwarves. We are a group of reclaimers, which means that we are here to recover the treasures of Moria, to kind of restore things to how they should be. As so much has been damaged by the orcs, and so much needs fixing. We've played through a few different missions so far, and had a few different fellowship phases. So we've decided the overall aim of this campaign is to recover the axe of Durin, which we got a hint about in the very first mission that we went on. So the very first mission we went on was to go to the armories of the Third Deep and recover what could be like anything useful. The armories of the Third Deep we're here, number 17 on the map. And we were to go there and just recover anything that was useful to recover and ascertain the fate of Durin's axe and other valuable treasures. We got there, we found the place mostly looted, but there are a few interesting things. So the kind of upper layer of the armories of the Third Deep was totally unlooted, totally unspoiled, full of valuables for the taking, but we couldn't get there as it was full of a poison left by the Balrog. Well, we don't know that, but there was some terrible poison in the air that we couldn't get through. We drove off a troll who came back to haunt us in a later mission, and we did discover that the door behind which Durin's axe and all the great treasures of dwarfdom rest was unbroken, so it's probably still there. Our next mission was to deliver some of the stuff that we recovered from the armories of the Third Deep to the city gate, so that was a slightly longer journey over to number 24 here on the map, so quite a ways. And when we were there, we heard tell that though these people had been sent over to the city gate way out to the east to keep watch for goblins and orcs coming from the east, from this kind of from the west, from this like unclaimed West Moria region. It seems most of the trouble is coming from the east, from back where Balin has most of his troops. We had a third mission, which is to recover a politically significant treasure from the Chamber of Mazarbul, which we did, and you may recall the Chamber of Mazarbul from the Lord of the Rings films. So this is the chamber in which the Fellowship found the remains of Balin. So we know that this is kind of where the last stand of the dwarves will be, but that's not for a few years of in-game time so far. So it's a ways off, but that is where the end will be. While there, we did indeed recover this political treasure. We need that because Balin's expedition is unpopular politically with the dwarven elites. There is a belief that Moria will not be reclaimed by anyone short of Durin himself. And so many believe that Balin is doomed to fail. So really, he needs all the kind of political favors he can get. While there, we also recovered a treasure of the past, a bronze head. Here we have it here, the brazen head, the cast head of a dwarven scholar with vocal cords of mithril and eyes of polished quartz. Under moonlight, it whispers secrets. This will give us a bonus to lore, so we can use this to research things. Then we had a kind of very reactive mission. So we'd heard that a troll, kind of matched the description of the one we'd driven away from the armies of the Third Deep, was harassing the dwarves, was causing trouble to the teams going out. And Balin was like, you guys go deal with this. So we went. It was a very close thing. Var died. The party nearly died. It was nearly the end of the campaign, really, along with the journey back, being harried by goblins pursuing us, but we made it back. We had a slightly longer rest period before the next mission, in which we recruited a replacement. We recruited Eerie. Vartu comes a little bit later. And then we went on our last mission. Well, not the last mission of the campaign. The last one we did before the little Christmas break. So in that final mission, we went to the King's Hall, so the throne room of Moria, to see if there's any treasures we could recover, as we want the Axe of Durin, as I mentioned. That would be a pretty cool thing to have, but we also want other kingly relics about Moria, as really we have two purposes in this. We want to recover the treasures of dwarfdom, so that they're not like at risk of being spoiled by the orcs. They can be looked after properly. They can be restored to the correct uses, the correct usage. And I said we had two reasons, but that's kind of it, really. We want to recover the treasures of Dwarven kingship. Sure, it'll be nice to reform Moria, but if that's a big task, we can make small steps to reforming Dwarven culture, at least by recovering the treasures that have been lost. And we had a pretty profound experience there. So let's just flip over in the PDF to the King's Hall. We have this wonderful illustration here. So this region at the back, numbered 3 in the PDF, if you can make that out. This is the throne room of Moria. And it was largely unspoiled. It hasn't been looted, but it is definitely damaged. The throne melted as if some intense heat struck at the floor, scorched. And when we set foot inside, we experienced a vision of the fall of the last king, the penultimate king, I should say, of Moria, Durin the 6th, I think. Let's just see, does it say which Durin it is? Yes, Durin the Sixth. So we had a vision of him and his courtiers and his guards inside the barricaded King's Hall, preparing for the arrival of the Balrog. We felt that we were there. We weren't just seeing events of the past, and we clearly remember the king turning to us and handing us a key ring and saying, "Get this to the next king," and ushering us to the road out the back of the hall just before the Balrog burst through the door and slaughtered everyone inside. So we know that somewhere there are the king's keys, which is interesting as the door to the treasury with Durin's axe in is locked, and we don't know for sure. We've not done the research to determine who had the keys, but it seems likely the king would have the keys, and they're evidently not here and not in the king's chambers, as they were taken to go somewhere else. So while we were here, we looked. We didn't spend too much time in the throne room, as in one of the adjacent rooms, the orcs have set up a fighting pit, so we kind of had to remain a bit out of sight. But we were able to look through the king's private chambers. There we recovered the beautiful silver necklace that we gave to Eerie. We found a bit of treasure, some sort of like royal regalia that we could bring back to make Balin happy. And then we had a bit of a break in which we recruited Vartu and Litir, and we secured the Chamber of Mazarbel so that we can use it to do research. And that's where we left it off. So we do have a plan for the rest of the campaign, which has been adjusted a little bit. So the plan is we've searched the King's Hall, and while we were there, one of the things we saw was a fresco, or perhaps a carving or a statue or some piece of art showing a cave. And in this cave there's a sarcophagus, and the sarcophagus is labelled Durin the First. We don't know exactly where this is. It wasn't really detailed as a depiction of a cave, but we know that somewhere, probably in Moria, probably in East Moria, the kind of old Moria, is where Durin the First was buried, and we would really, really like to find that place if we can. Because there isn't really anything more culturally significant to the dwarves than Durin the First. He was the father of the dwarves. He was created, one of the original 7 dwarves created by Aule the Maker. Finding and securing his resting place would be a huge boon. So that's what we want to go and find. We can find this by doing a skill endeavor in the Chamber of Mazarbel. So this is a kind of long period of research which may take multiple attempts, and we can only really consult the Chamber of Mazarbel in downtime between missions, so we're going to have to do a number of side quests to make the time for us to perform this research. Once we have done that research, once we've found where it is, I know where it is. It is in the Great West Cave. So the research will tell us kind of roughly where it is. We'll then have to go on an adventure to find it. This will involve another skill endeavor to actually navigate the old mines and find the place, as the route was only known to a few dwarves. It was never written down, and so while we'll get a little bit close with our research, we won't know exactly where it is. So we will have to find it. There's dangers in the mines. There's some sort of ghost thing that we'll have to deal with. And when we get there, we will have the sarcophagus of Durin the First. But the main thing we'll get is a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina, but we will get a prophetic vision of where the last king of Moria, with the Ring of Keys, died. This will then lead us on to our kind of 2 final missions, or there'll be side quests between, well, No, there won't be side quests between them. There'll be a bit of downtime between them, but we can do these kind of last 3 missions back to back. So firstly, we want to go visit the Tomb of Durin the First. Once we've had the prophetic vision, we want to go visit the place where the last king died and kind of recover his treasures. This may attract Balrog attention if we are unfortunate. And then once we have recovered the keys, we can go on one final adventure to recover Durin's axe from the armories of the Third Deep. And that will be the campaign. So we have 3 kind of main quests left and some number of research skill checks before we can begin that. Simple. But we've just been on a mission. We have... So yes, we left the last session, we visited the King's Hall, we then did a period of downtime, so we can't begin the research now because we need to do another mission before we can have another period of downtime. So we're going to start with the first side quest here, which I've fleshed out 4 side quests. I don't think we'll need more than 6. I don't think we'll even need 6, but I've fleshed out 4 of 6 side quests. And the first one is to recover the Mithril of Nan. So let me just turn. Okay, we do have a picture of the Great West Cave here. So you see we've got this kind of mechanism like mounted in the top of the cave, this like winch thing with 2 cages on chains. These 2 cages were used to raise and lower things from the mines. And one of them has mithril ore in it. It isn't at the landing, it's kind of like a ways below, and it is hanging precariously, so someone will need to climb over there to get it. But that is where we want to go. We want to go there, we want to recover this mithril, as mithril is only found in Moria. And I think this will be our climber, Toki's time to shine, which will make him a hardened companion. And I think we're ready to set off on the mission. So we finished the downtime last session, so we can move straight over to mission setup. So let's jump over to our solo rules for planning a mission. So, right, yes, we want to... Oh, I see. We actually began the mission, but we didn't complete it last time. Okay, right, so, yes, according to my notes here, we are 2 miles away from the Great West Cave. We have defeated a pack of orcs. So no. We have arrived at the Great West Cave. As it says here, we've arrived at the Great West Cave. Along the way in our journey, we defeated a pack of orcs, in which Litir, who is our hard of hearing but merciless guy, distinguished himself in combat. So he could possibly become a hardened ally in the next downtime phase, or maybe a future one. We have arrived at the Great West Cave, but it has orcs in it. And we've taken a bit of... Litir has a fleeting injury, and Ostri and Toki are slightly fatigued. But no one is like severely harmed yet. We do only have 1 point of fellowship left. Fellowship we can spend to get a bonus in combat, so only having 1 left is a little bit unfortunate, as this will refresh between missions. So the fact that we've spent this on the mission so far means we're kind of stuck with 1 fellowship until the end of the mission. Do we have anything useful here? Let's just have a look. No, we don't have any special bonuses because what we spent our downtime doing was securing the Chamber of Mazabal. Okay, so we arrived at the Great West Cave. It has orcs. I think we need to decide how many orcs there are. So we have somewhere in our battle rules, we can roll for how big a war party is and whether it has an archfoe, a leader. So let's determine that. Okay, so we'll roll a d12 to determine the size of the warband, war party rather, and a d6 to determine whether there is an archfoe, and if so, what sort of archfoe we have. So that is a Gandalf rune on the d12. So it is a patrol, which is very good. That is very weak. But a 5 on the d6, which means there is a lesser archfoe there. So there's like a patrol of orcs or goblins or whatever here. Orcs and goblins are really the same thing in the Lord of the Rings. Goblins are just... Generally, if they're weak, you call them goblins. If they're strong, you call them orcs. But they're the same thing. So we have a patrol with a leader. So let's just note down their combat stats. So the patrol has a might of 0 and a resistance of 3, so they're very easy to defeat. With the archfoe, because it is a lesser archfoe, there's no increase to the might. It's still might 0, but it is resistance 4. So we have, in the Great West Cave, we have arrived. And let's see, what exactly is there? So in the Great West Cave, we have a hostel. This was once an inn on the road. But it says the orcs have not despoiled it. They fear this area and hurry through it. So they're probably not really hanging around in the hostel. We've got the paths to the mines. So honestly, it's probably just a group of goblins kind of passing through that we have to either evade or deal with. So I think if we could quite possibly evade them, though that's going to be a roll to see if we could hide. As you know, there's 9 of us, and we're carrying lights and stuff, and it's a big cave, so things will echo. So let's make a maneuver roll to see if we can like successfully sneak around these goblins. If we can like tuck ourselves into some nook and to wait for them to move by. Because if we don't need to interact with them at all, that's perfect. All right, so we're rolling 2 dice, and let me just double check. I always forget which one is stealth. I think it's maneuver, but I want to double check. Yes, maneuver covers stealth. Okay, let's make a maneuver roll. Yes, that is a 17. That is a success. So we just kind of hide out and wait for this patrol to move along. Let's cross that out. So they may be an obstacle in the future. If we have a bad encounter on the road, maybe we've bumped into these guys on our way back. But for now, we have hidden ourselves from them, and they've just moved by. Right, let's see what we've got at the Great West Cave. So we have the Mithril of Nan. That's the main thing we're here for. But we also have this hostel. What's in this hostel? Is there something worth checking out? Okay. Says there may be treasure here. I think really the main thing we want to check out is Nan, the kind of elevator platform thing. And we can maybe check out other things elsewhere in the cave after we've got that, but that's the priority. Alright, so we quietly tuck ourselves away in a nook, wait for these goblins to pass by, and then we creep in along the path to the mines. Got a kind of nice doorway thing leading into the cave, so we've actually come down there hidden behind maybe these massive stalagmites as waited for the goblins to pass, and now we move out. There must be a kind of route, like a path down to Nan and Gillim. So we kind of cautiously make our way along that until we see this precarious platform. So we have a complex system of chains, cogs, and counterweights that is now just completely rusted and seized up. 5 of the 8 chains holding up Nan specifically have snaps, and it dangles at a steep angle. But it is loaded with mithril ore. A lot of it has slid off, so we could maybe go down and recover it if we want to go down into the mines. But there is some there that we can recover. Okay, and yes, there's one way to recover the ore is to climb and kind of recover it one stone at a time. That sounds like a lot of trips back and forth. How far down is it? Does it say how, is it below or is it above? Okay, Nan was on its way back up, so it is below the ground level. So we can't just if it were above, we'd need to climb up to it, but then you could throw all the mithril off at once and someone could catch it and stick it in a bag, and then you go back in one trip. But if it's down far enough that you can't just throw it up, then we might need to do this one piece at a time, which sounds quite risky. I think a good starting point would be so there's 2 platforms. One is stuck and has the mithril on it. The other is just broken. A good starting point would be to see if we can repair the other platform, because if we can, the ideal outcome would be we repair the other platform, someone gets on that, is lowered down to the level of the broken platform, they just lean over, grab all the mithril, and we bring them back up. The less good but still, potentially useful outcome is that it kind of works enough that we can lower someone down and they can bring the mithril across, but then we can't raise it back up. Our repair isn't good enough. That's still an upgrade because it means the mithril is now on a platform that has all of its chains intact. So it should be safer to kind of recover it. There isn't really a risk of chains breaking and the whole thing falling into the mines. So I think we want to try to repair Gillim, the other platform, first. If we can't do that, then Toki is going to have to just climb a lot. So you need someone who is good at crafting. Someone who's good at smithing, actually. I suppose this is like metalworking and like machinery repair. So this is probably Anar's scene. Yeah. Anar, he carries metalworking tools. He understands like the craft of metalworking. I think probably he is the one to do it. So I think this is probably going to be 2 rolls, maybe. Yeah, I think probably 1 roll to get it to the point where it could be like lowered down to be next to Nan, and then another roll to kind of repair it well enough that it could be raised up as well. And this is expertise because it is craft, so we're actually very good at this. So we are inspired, so we'll roll 2. We won't roll 2 d12s. It's inspired. That means if we spend hope, we get more dice. So we'll roll a d12. We get 3 dice, and if Anar is taking the lead, we're using his like smithing gift, so that'll give us a bonus die as well. So we've now got 4 dice. We need to hit a 14. Let's spend some hope as well, as we really want this. And because we're inspired, we'll get 2 dice from that. So we're now rolling 6 dice. This feels very, very likely to succeed. But, you know, famous last words and all that. Okay, we've got a Gandalf rune. It's an automatic success. And we got a 6. So we're gonna. I think it would be quite nice to have like a special bonus success here. Let's just see what the suggested things are. So if you get a 6, that's an extra good success. And it has some suggestions of how we could interpret this. I think make haste makes sense here. So we do this like very quickly, very efficiently. Because we don't want to be here when that patrol comes back. So, okay, so we've got our first success. And we then want to kind of do the thing again. So that we can raise the platform as well. So I'll spend another point of hope on this. Actually, no, I'm not going to spend another point of hope on this because we have so many dice. Like, being able to lower it was the main thing. That already makes the task safer. Being able to raise it is... I feel we're still likely to do this, given that we've got the bonus from Anar's smithing ability here. You know, we're trying to hit a 14 with 1d12 and 4d6. It's a pretty good chance. Yes, that is a 14, and we've got a 6 as well. So we'll say we did this the second bits quickly as well. So we've done the whole thing like quite quickly. We've done it to a reasonable standard. Like, it will definitely last for what we need it to do. So all that's left is for someone to go and actually grab the stuff. Note that we have repaired Gillim and that Anar distinguished himself in this. I think it makes sense for Toki to do this. He is the climber, so let's say that he will secure a rope up top, you know, just in case. So he has a rope tied around his waist. He has a rope secured up top, and he gets in, and Gillim is lowered down to the level of Nan. I think just for the sake of drama, we do need to roll to see if something goes horribly wrong. This thing is centuries old and rusty. So I'm just going to roll my d12, and if it's the Eye of Sauron or something goes wrong despite our success in repairing it. Nope, it's fine. Okay, so he goes across, scoops up all the mithril ore, and signals to be raised up. It's okay again. He is raised up and recovers, and we have the ore. Now, if this were like a campaign, I would need to determine the treasure value of this mithril ore, but I don't think I really need to. Here, as the premise is that Balin has told us to go and do this, and he will be using the mithril. Like, we're not keeping the mithril to sell ourselves. We're doing this as part of the mission as a whole. So it could potentially increase our burden from medium to heavy, but I think the fact that we're dividing this ore between 9 of us, and mithril is noted to be exceptionally light. Think of Bilbo, later Frodo's mithril chainmail shirt. It's as light as a feather. I think we don't need to increase our burden for that, so we've just got the mithril. Now we need to head back, which is a 30-mile journey. And since we encountered a patrol in this room, this cave rather, and we evaded them, I think it only makes sense that if we do have a bad encounter on the journey back, it's going to be this patrol. We've kind of bumped into them from the other direction. So, as always, our journey back will begin with a maneuver roll. So we're trying to hit a 14. That's our target number. And now the good rolls stop. Okay, so I missed that maneuver roll, so I'm going to have a penalty on my travel roll. I'm only going to be rolling 2 d6s rather than 3. Do I want to spend hope on this? Because otherwise it could be a pretty slow journey back. No, I think it's better to spend hope on the maneuver roll rather than the travel roll. So let's see how this goes. That is a success. And it's a really good success because we've got 2 6s. So that means we go 10 miles. So we go 6 miles for succeeding, plus 2 miles for every 6 we've got. But that's just how far we go before something happens. So let's consult our journey tables and see what our thing is. So something I've realized is that because Moria is a dark land, I should have been rolling on this table ill-favored the whole time. It does even say that here in the text. By default, journeys within Moria are within a dark land, and this roll is ill-favored unless you have secured a foothold. We're not traveling between a foothold, so this is an ill-favored roll. So let's see what happens on our journey back. I kind of hope it's just the goblins, as that would be easy. Got a 5 and a 3. So watchful eyes. They are coming. Okay, so it suggests building a barricade or stealing a passageway to head off whatever is coming, but I think it just makes sense that we have run into this patrol of goblins that we previously saw, and I'm just going to choose to fight them rather than barricade them, as they seem pretty weak, actually. So let's bring these guys back and turn to our battle rules. And I believe I was getting something wrong here about arch foes. Let me just skim through these again. Archfoes. Yes, the presence of an archfoe in battle causes you to lose a die on your clash rolls. So I think I've only applied that rule inconsistently. Seems Morkan is better at creating cool adventure. I think the campaign structure that Morkan provides is quite nice. There's kind of less thinking needed, I guess, as you know what sort of adventure you're doing. You know where to get to. I'm definitely looking forward to playing more Morkan. I think it's going to take a few sessions to complete. I have gone through the VOD myself, and I've noted down all the rule mistakes I've made. I think I should have had a slightly easier time of it than I did, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to having more Morkan Mondays. I've also picked up Kern Nathalis, which is a another like solo dungeon crawler with a procedural dungeon generation. So probably try that one after Morkan. Yeah, excited to see where it goes. My fatigue was miscalculated, and also I totally forgot about. Let's go over to my Morkan stuff. I had this like special travel speed on day 1 and 2 that I forgot about, and I also missed a bonus that I should have got to orientation rolls whenever I was on the plains. So I should probably have headed in the right direction more than I did. Right, let's fight these goblins. I suppose we are preparing fortifications. That's kind of what the event says. Build a barricade. So that would be an expertise roll to prepare some fortifications. So let's try that. We're good at expertise. I like rolling expertise. Okay, we have a good start. In fact, it's a persistent advantage because we've got a Gandalf rune. So that means we'll have the bonus from these fortifications until we fail a clash roll. So let's just note down that we've got that. And these guys are pretty weak, so I'm just going to go for my default tactic of going for fight. So I make a combat roll. If I succeed, I lower their resistance. I can also potentially give a bonus to my band in their clash roll, which would offset the penalty from the archfoe. So I'm going to heft my axe and, well, not quite charge in because we've set up fortifications. I'm going to heft my axe and wait for them to close on the fortifications and then attempt to kill them. So my target number for that is a 14. And I don't get the bonus from the advantage. That only applies to the clash roll. That's a success with the Gandalf rune. No 6s though. So it worked, but it's not like, amazing. But it does knock the resistance down by 1. And yeah, no 6s, so it is not going to give any bonuses on the clash roll, which is a little sad. But the band is now going to make their clash roll, and I think because this is a weak foe, we should just be aggressive. So the clash roll is going to be ill-favored. I think we can offset that by spending our last fellowship point. Actually no, they're a weak foe, so let's hold that back. Let's go for a balanced. Yeah, let's go for a balanced approach. We have a +1 die from our fortifications, -1 die for the archfoe, so those cancel out, and our war is 2. I don't think there are any other bonuses. Yes, we can apply an ally's gift, so we're going to have who hasn't distinguished themselves. I think Litter distinguished himself. Yes, so let's have Var2. I don't think Var2 can really take the forefront here, as he is a prowler, and we didn't really set up an ambush. So, yep, let's say Dari is taking the lead here. So we're going to get a bonus die from his being battle tested. My bow. I could duel the archfoe, I guess. Yeah, or I could use it in fight as well. I'm slightly better with axes than bows, though. I get 3 dice for axes, but only 2 for bows. So I generally go for the axe. But yeah, if I did want to fight someone far away, the bow would be the better choice. That's 10, 14, though, and our target number is 14 because they don't have any might. So that's a success on the clash roll, but no 6s, so it just knocks off 1 resistance. And we succeeded, so we don't take any damage or anything. So next round, one day I'll duel an archfoe, but I kind of feel that fights and then clash is just the better option generally. So let's fight again with my axe. Still no 6s, but that is a success. So that knocks off 1 point of resistance. And then we just need to succeed on this. Yeah, let's say we could even make this guarded, so we get a favored roll, because we only need to. We don't need any like bonuses or anything. We just need 1 hit. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Good thing that was favored, because we got an Eye of Sauron as one of the things. So that's that is just a 14, so that's also a success. We fall upon these goblins like, I can't think of a good metaphor. We fall upon them like orcs upon dwarves upon goblins, and wipe them out with no damage to our side. But this was part of a journey event, so we're going to get some fatigue. Let's see. We succeeded a roll, I suppose. So it's just 2 fatigue points. Uh-oh, that means I am now weary. So my rolls are going to start to become more difficult. And the band need to roll to see if someone becomes weary. So that's going to be a rally roll against a target number of 16. Yep, that's a success on the band. No one in the band becomes weary, but I am weary. Which isn't good. because that's going to affect the travel rolls to get back home. Well, let's go for it. So let's spend hope on this maneuver roll, as succeeding on the maneuver roll is really good. I need a member of my band who has like maps and stuff. Someone who could help with maneuver rolls. That's a success. Oops, no sixes. But it is a success. So I now make my travel roll. And I am weary, which, let me just double check, but I believe that's, I don't count ones, twos, and threes on the dice. Yes. So my chance of succeeding on this roll is much reduced now. Okay, it's favors. We get rid of the 1. We don't count this 2. My target is 18, and yeah, that's a 16. So that's a failure on the travel roll, which means you only move 2 miles. And then something happens. Might need to find a safe place to hole up for the night and recover some fatigue. Five, and I think, was that what we rolled before? Watchful eyes. It is. It's exactly what we rolled before. That's boring. Let's roll that again. Oh, also, the eye awareness should have gone up as we had a fight. Fights allowed, so it goes up by 2. A 1 and a 5. The Long Dark of Moria, which can give us shadow points for dread. We found some fallen kin, a dwarf from another band in Balin's expedition who unfortunately had to be abandoned by his companions. So we're going to make an expertise roll to lay this unfortunate dwarf to rest. Make a cairn of stones, I suppose. You can't really dig a grave in Moria, as everything is rock. Yep, that's a success, but we get the fatigue. So let's roll to resist fatigue. Say rally roll. Target number 16, as it's 2 fatigue points. Okay, someone is getting fatigued. We need to... I don't have a d8 out, so I'll just roll a d12. That's a 12. 9. 10. 10. We'll get there eventually. My God. 6. Okay. Eerie is fatigued. And I get 2 fatigue points as well. Let's set off on our journey again. So another maneuver roll, which I'll spend a point of... Yeah, we still have some spare hope left, so I'll spend a point of hope on this. Let's get another die. Nope. That's a 13. So I now make a very unlikely travel roll. So I am rolling favored, but I'm only rolling 2 dice, and 1s, 2s, and 3s don't count. I got 8 on both of those. That's a 16, but I needed an 18. So still only move 2 miles this time. I mean, worst case scenario, we'll be back after like 8 more journey events, but that'll be pretty rough. Let's see what happens. It's a 3 and a 6. 6s are usually good, right? Watchful eyes. A graven image. What sort of off-putting graven image might we find? A depiction of the Balrog, perhaps, like a humanoid figure wreathed in flame, kind of crudely painted as an orc did it. It feels very off-putting. And we want to tear this down. So let's clean it off the wall, fix that all up nice and pretty, and we do so. So we don't gain a shadow point eye awareness doesn't go up, but we do get more fatigue points. So my fatigue is now like through the roof. It'll take a long time for me to recover from that. Actually, I don't remember if last session I recovered fatigue from the journey to the Great West Cave. I feel I probably didn't. So I'm just going to do that now and maybe knock some fatigue points off. That's a success, but no 6s, so just double check the journey rules, see how many points I would recover. Travel fatigue. A successful roll reduces the total fatigue by 1 plus 1 point for every success icon. So my fatigue is actually a 13 now, which is still bad. Okay, I've lost track of where I was. I interrupted myself. So so just gained 2 fatigue, added it to myself, but now the party needs to determine if someone here is going to be fatigued. So that's another rally roll against a difficulty, or target number rather, of 16. Someone is getting fatigued. Number 5, Dari. Four of the band are now fatigued, so does that mean that it's either half or over half? I will double check that. Okay, I track fatigue points normally, but among the allies, it's the fatigue condition. This is on page 204, it says. Okay, fatigue. Becoming weary. If at least half the allies rounding up are lost or suffering from a serious condition. So serious condition for fatigue is spent or collapse. So we're still a long way off the band as a whole becoming weary, which is good. Even if my character is individually weary. Okay. I don't really want to spend many more hope points, because if the hope gets down to 8, so equaling our shadow points, or if our shadow points go up to, say, 10, we would become miserable. So I think I'm going to not spend any hope points now unless it's an emergency. So get rid of that. So let's have a maneuver roll. But it could be a very slow journey back if we're just doing it 2 miles at a time. Yep, that's a failure. So we now have a bad travel roll. Yep, that's a 14, which is a failure. It's going to be a long journey back. I think after this encounter, we will look for somewhere to. But we need to rest up for days, really, for the fatigue to no longer be a problem. So the problem is that my character is weary, and to be unweary, my fatigue would need to be like 9 or less. You remove 1 point of fatigue per day if you're resting, so I need to rest for 4 days in potentially dangerous locations. So that's not really an option, I don't think. I need to make it back to the safe haven and then just have a period of downtime. But we are going to have an event happen now. There's a 5. I think I get a lot of 5s. This watchful eyes. And a 2. A lone scout. Okay, we want to silence this guy because otherwise the next encounter will be with a patrol. So I think that I think vigilance makes the most sense here, because if I was to do it with awareness, I would be suffering the penalty of being wary. Is anyone especially vigilant in the group? I think this is time for Vartu to shine. He can creep up to this goblin and slit his throat and look into his eyes or something, whatever Vartu likes. So it's going to be a vigilance roll with a bonus die because Vartu is taking the lead here. Ooh, that's an Eye of Sauron. That's not an automatic failure, but the numbers do not add up to 14. So the scout gets away. Also, I'm just going to check something here with fatigue. So, fatigue represents a deeper level of weariness that a player hero accumulates while traveling and that manifests itself fully when the journey is finally over. And remaining fatigue after you've reduced it is recorded on the character sheets. And you recover 1 point for every prolonged rest. I think it specifically says that for the journey, it's me making the roll. Let's have a look. It says make a maneuver roll for the band and then make a travel roll for the player hero. Yeah. So kind of both the band and the character need to succeed on their rolls really to move a decent amount, which is a bit punishing. Okay, anyway, a scout got away, so we're going to get a point of eye awareness. And need to roll to resist shadow. But I roll to resist shadow, and so this is affected by my weariness. So, Dread is resisted with Valor, so I'm rolling 2 dice against a target number of 18. Nope, that is not a success. So we're on 9 shadow points, 1 shadow point off becoming miserable. The effect of miserable is that if we roll an Eye of Sauron, that's an automatic failure. So it's not a huge impact, but it's also not, not good. Well, let's keep going with another maneuver roll, which I kind of want to spend hope on now, but it is only a 1 in 12 chance of automatic failure, so sure, let's become miserable. Let's spend a point of hope there. Mark that we are miserable. Get an additional die. I'll be very mad if this fails with an Eye of Sauron now. It's a Gandalf rune. We succeed, but no 6s, so no... well, just the 1 bonus to the travel roll, but that's much better than nothing. Okay, so that 2 doesn't count. What's our target number? It's 18. Okay, cool. That is a success with a 6, so we have moved 8 miles. We only have 6 miles to go. We're getting there. But something happens, and I'm going to see what it is, but I feel probably... maybe we do want to overrule this and have another fight. I don't know, I'll see what happens. We did move a fair distance, even if we were spotted by a scout, maybe we've outpaced whoever may have been pursuing. Watchful eyes again, and they are coming. Okay, let's try to seal the passage with an expertise roll here. And I don't think anyone has like stoneworking tools, which would be the best thing to use. No, we've got metalworking, but not stoneworking. So maybe that's an NPC we should pick up, like someone with stoneworking tools. That's a success. We seal this passage behind us. Whoever is coming has to take another route. So Eye Awareness doesn't increase. We don't get another shadow point in Dread, but we do get the fatigue. And the band succeeds, so no one in the band becomes tired. So something I'm really feeling in this journey, something that's kind of felt to be the case in previous journeys, is that fatigue, like the band shakes off fatigue really easily, but the player character, it builds up quite quickly. And that feels kind of punishing when some of the roles have to be done by the player character and not by the band. So that might be something to house rule. You know, maybe adopt something more similar to the band's ability to shake off fatigue for the, PC. Anyway, we want to get home, and ideally in one roll, so I will spend another point of hope. We're already miserable. It's not really making things much worse. So we'll be rolling with 3 dice. That's bad. That's a failure. So we now have the travel roll. Yep, that's bad. We got an 8, so that's a failure. We've only moved 2 miles before yet another thing happens. Oops, not 2 miles left, 4 miles left. And what have we got here? That's Watchful Eyes again. A lot of Watchful Eyes. Another Graven Image. We've already had one of those. Let's do something different. Let's go for Swarming Creatures. Let's say that this... I mean, it's only 2 miles after we steal the passageway to avoid pursuit, so maybe we're being swarmed now. So we need to maneuver our way out of this, and if we don't, I think there will be a fight. I will also spend hope on this. It feels we're going to have a slightly longer period of downtime to recover all this hope and fatigue. That is only just a success, but it is a success. Actually, I suppose because there's a 6, it's a good success, but you know, numerically it only just scraped by. So, fatigue. The band is fine again. We have another maneuver roll. That's a success, and we'll get 2 bonus dice to our travel roll. That's still a failure. So we only moved 2 miles again. Being weary really is playing this game in hard mode. We've got the worst thing, the Deadly Dark. We are suddenly ambushed. Okay. It says noteworthy encounter. What does it mean that a noteworthy? I think that's just a... Yeah, it's just something that's not resolved with a single skill roll. So... I mean, it's a sudden ambush, so I think it makes sense that we're attacked. So let's roll up a... And we've been pursued for the last couple of things, so let's roll up a war party. See what we get. This is a war band, so reasonably tough. Without an archfoe. Yeah, no archfoe. But that's still pretty tough. Especially considering how much we've been failing rolls due to bad things. I wonder, we might actually want to just flee this fight. We're very close to home, so if we can flee this fight, we can make it home with the next bit of journey. So, okay, let's see. Fleeing. The band's only intent is to retreat from this fight, make a clash roll using maneuver. And success icons are ignored except when applied to on. So we do still need an objective to escape. Which, if we've been, what was it, surrounded? Suddenly ambushed. I feel escape, getting around them, isn't going to be simple. So we'll say that escape is probably a laborious objective. So we need 6 successes, which is still better than the 9 for the warband. But okay, let's get in position. So we have... I guess this is a vigilance to see if we spot this ambush before they fall upon us. We did not. So we have a temporary complication here. But that will go away after this first round. Let's have a look. So we want to retreat. So we want to get this move towards an objective thing. There isn't an archfoe to duel. Could I command or inspire? Would that be useful? So if I command, that's a battle roll. That's not great. Inspire is an enheartened roll. That's even worse. So my best option by far is fight, because my target number is lower and I get more dice. And yes, I think I even noted this last session, that if I'd known how important heart turned out to be in these solo rules, I would have, because we also need heart for travel, I would definitely have rebalanced my stats so that maybe my like, I don't need wits as good as they are, but I could have done with much better hearts. So yes, I'm going to have to fight. And let's see, if successful, reduce the foe's resistance by 1 point. So I don't think I can apply the fight successes towards escaping. I think I have to flee in the clash roll and then apply successes towards escaping there. Which isn't great. That means that I and the band will be working at different objectives. But I suppose it is what it is. I'll definitely spend that fellowship point to make the clash roll for the band favored. That's a colossal failure. I don't count any of those dice, so I got a 2 in total. Okay, so I fail in the fight roll, which means I roll 2 success dice, add them together, and decrease my endurance by that amount. It's a 5. Now for the band, I'm spending this point of fellowship. They are attempting to flee, so this is a favored clash roll using maneuver. I'm going to spend a point of hope to get a bonus die, and I really want to get as many 6s as I can on this, because I can then apply all of those to the retreat. So let's have Litter's Grim Fury kind of holding off the ambushers. Okay, so our target number is 16 because they have a might of 2. We've definitely got that. We've also got 2 6s, so I believe that's 3 points towards escaping. Oh, -1 die because we're caught off guard. I should have. I'll just do that next round. Okay, well that's good. We're halfway to escaping. So let's kind of do the same. I will. It's a shame I can't just like stand back and do nothing because I'm so likely to just like injure myself. But yes, I guess I'll just fight again. And why not? I'll spend a point of hope on this. We're going to be taking some downtime to recover. Maybe it's time to also take a shadow scar to wipe out these shadow points because recovering them is kind of hard. Okay, don't count these. Yeah, that's a 13. So that's a failure. So I'm going to take some more damage. Take 7 damage. Then the band is going to flee. I don't have any more fellowship points. This is going to be a normal roll, but I'll do the same thing with the hope and the gift. And this time I'll remember the disadvantage, so I'll take out 1 die. So I'm rolling 3 dice. That is a Gandalf rune. That's a success, but there are no 6s. So it's just 1 point towards escaping. And we've used up that. Okay, so what happens if... Okay, so if I try to... If I was to try to inspire within Hearten, I would need to roll a Gandalf rune to succeed. But if I do succeed, they become inspired. And if I fail, gain a shadow point. That seems not a huge problem in this situation. If we're going to take a shadow scar, which I think we have to, I'm going to try to inspire the band. I did not inspire the band. So I get 1 shadow point. We're already miserable. What's the max shadow points we can get? We can get up to 17 because that's our max hope. The band is going to focus on fleeing again, and again we'll do the same thing. Yes, that's a success, and we got a 6, so we have 2 points to put into escape, so we achieve our objective. We escape the fight. And there isn't really any point rolling to get back because 2 miles is the minimum we can move, so we make it back. Mission success. Let's go note this down in our mission log. I guess this took like 2 days as it was a pretty long journey. There's no way we could have gone there, done the thing, and got back all in a single day. So we have repaired Gillim, which is one of the elevators down to the mines. Who knows if that will last for a long time. It lasted enough to recover stuff. And we have recovered the mithril, which we can hand into Barlin for pats on the back and other goodwill and such like. So let's cross this off our side quests list. And let's have a look at shadow scars. So I believe we can just choose to take a shadow scar at any time. consult the index. Shadow points, page 136. Yep, so adventurers who are struggling under the burden of the shadow may tap into their innermost reserves of spiritual energy to harden their determination before it's too late. If you have accumulated shadow points and it doesn't yet match your maximum hope, you can remove all of your shadow and replace it with a shadow scar. And this is a permanent shadow point, so we can remove these during the Yule Fellowship phase, but we don't have Yule in Moria. Everyone's too busy for like an extended break like that, so it's not ideal, but getting rid of 10 shadow points normally would be too much. So we have done that, and let's do a fellowship. Oh, let's recover a bit of my fatigue first, if I can. That's a success. No sixes, so I've got rid of 1 fatigue. We are no longer miserable because our hope is now above our shadow. And yes, I think we need to have like a 2-week fellowship phase again to get rid of all this fatigue. So we'll do that. We'll note down here. And what we'll do for our undertaking is we'll do some research to see if we can find the path to or the rough location of Durin's tomb. Okay, so we recover all of our hope points. So this goes up to 17. We've already removed shadow points because we've taken a shadow scar. We recover all the player hero endurance. We're also going to drop this down. So my endurance goes back up to 28. My fatigue goes down to 2. I'm not weary anymore. We don't have any wasted gifts. I'm not wounded. Clear all the injury and fatigue conditions. We can perform 2 undertakings. Okay. Right, so... Right, once we consult the records, this is going to be a lore check. And we have our magic brazen head. That will just remind myself how magic items work. I'm not sure if it just gives us the bonus or if we need to like spend hope on it. But let's see. Yep, you just get 2 bonus dice. We are making lore rolls here, so I'll get 2 bonus dice on that. So, okay, for making a lore roll, I am favored in lore, so there's a pretty good chance of this succeeding. But again, we want as many successes, as many 6s as we can, as we need to accumulate, I believe I said 6 successes on this. Yes, 6 successes to determine where the cave with Durin's tomb could be. So, got 2 d12s, got 2 d6s from my skill, and 2 from the brazen head. We have no 6s, but it is a success. So let's note down. We only need 5 more successes, and I could, I suppose, do another one because we can do 2 undertakings in an extended fellowship phase. But is there anything else I want to do? I do want to harden an ally. That's not an undertaking though, so I can just do that. Okay. So I believe Yes, Anar and Litte both distinguished themselves. Let's go for Anar. He's been around since the beginning. He's a good egg. There we go. So let's note down that. Oops. And I think we will just do a second lore roll for the tomb location. We should also get some adventure points and skill points. But I'll do that in a moment. Yep, that's a success, and we got a 6, so that counts as 2 successes. So we've gone down from 5. Sorry, we've gone down from 6 all the way down to 3. So you see 3 more successes, and we will know roughly where the Tomb of Durin the First is. And yeah, let's have a look at what the suggested experience points are. Okay, achieving a mission or quest, 2 adventure points and 2 skill points. Let's see if we could spend those. I think we probably need more adventure points, but let's just have a look. We could get to 2 wisdom. Let's just look at what the wisdom blessings are. Whatever they're called. Virtues. Oh, I could have a prowess in my hearts, improving the target number by 1. That, I think, would be good. Yes, let's spend 8 adventure points. To reduce this target number to 17. And do we want skill points? What would be useful for skills? Enhearten would possibly be good. So I could get something in Enhearten. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm now slightly less bad at enheartening people. Okay. And I think that's everything to do as part of the fellowship phase. So we need to do a side quest before we can consult the records again. So the next side quest is to find a missing expedition group and bring them back. But before that, I will have a momentary break. So I will be back shortly. Okay, I'm back. So, time for side quest 2, which I had previously rolled up on the mission tables, and I thought could be interesting to find a missing expeditionary group and bring them back. I guess let's use the kind of abstract way of determining distance. So actually, where is the Great West Cave? I should circle that to indicate we've gone there. It is number 24 on this map. Oh, I've already circled the Great West Cave. Perfect. Okay. So yes, let's use the kind of abstract way of finding distance. So we're going to roll two d6s, add them together, and multiply by 4. And that will be how far we need to travel to find this missing band. So we'll kind of assume that we know roughly where they are. And this distance kind of represents us going to that area and kind of exploring around until we find them. So it's a 40-mile journey. That's a really long journey. So I've got 3 fellowship again. And I'm going to be very liberal with the hope. The iOS is going to reset. But yeah, I'll work all this out. Going to be very liberal with the hope spending this time, I think, on those maneuver and travel rolls. So anyway, let's get our mission ready. Yes, here we go. So choosing my allies. Maybe a small band of allies makes sense this time, as we'll have a much larger band on our way back. So maybe just a band of like entirely hardened allies. Which gives a huge bonus on our target number. Okay, let's just have a band of... Actually, I guess Toki makes sense because he's a climber. We might need ropes and stuff. Okay, let's just have Anna, Toki, Dari, and Iri. So our readiness bonus, we have half the band or more. So that starts at 4, but we're getting a +3. That's going to be 13. We are a small band, which means we have a penalty to war, but a bonus to maneuver. Our eye awareness resets because we had an extended fellowship period, so that's gonna be yep, 1 because it's a small band. The hunt threshold is is 14. Yeah, I think I'll be looking for an opportunity to have Toki stand out in this mission so that I can make him a hardened ally when we return. Let's see. Previous mission was, I guess, a qualified success, and they had an extended fellowship duration. So actually we're going to start with 0 eye awareness, which is quite nice. Okay, let's set off on this journey. And we're going to start with a maneuver roll, as always, and spending a point of hope to go really fast. I hope. Okay, yep, that's a success, and I'm going to get 2 bonus dice to the travel roll. And my travel roll target number is now a 17 because yes, I got prowess in hot. Okay, 10, 60, yep. So we've got a success with a 6, so we move 8 miles. Hopefully we can keep this up, or better, all through the journey. And the fact that we're traveling 40 miles won't be quite so terrible. But let's see what happens. 8 and a 1, and 8 is endlessly branching stairs and passages. We have encountered maddening roads, which makes sense if we're searching for a lost band. And we need awareness or vigilance to keep our wits. If we fail, we add a day to the length of the journey, and we get an additional fatigue. But regardless whether successful or not, we roll for a random chamber. So let's get the random chamber table open. Let's see, I suppose this is where we end up. So let's roll to resolve it first. Awareness or vigilance. I think they're both. Actually, vigilance is now slightly better because of our target number. Let's go with vigilance. Yep, that is a success. So we're going to end up in a random chamber. Let's determine where that is. A civic building that has been shattered by earthquake, but is quite homely. So not a grand civic building, maybe a fairly minor civic building. I can't think of what that would be off the top of my head. Some sort of like minor bureaucratic place, perhaps. That's where we have ended up. So I get fatigue. Band gets potential fatigue. The band has resisted the fatigue. So let's have our next maneuver roll. I'm going to spend another point of hope. No 6s, but it is a success. Yep, that's a success with the 6. So that's another 8 miles. No, 24. An 8. Was that the... That was the endlessly branching stairs and corridors again. with a 5. No, not a well-trod path. This one up here, a collapsed tunnel. That's the opposite of a well-trod path. We need to clear the way with expertise or craft. I don't think Toki's rope and stuff really helps with the collapsed corridor. If you're crossing a great abyss, maybe he could stand out, but yep, as it is, we'll just do I suppose an expertise roll to kind of clear the way. Yep, that's all good. And we end up in another random chamber. Stairs that are a safe place to rest and are homely. I don't think we need to rest, really. But maybe this is some way we could hang out on the way back if need be. Roll to resist fatigue. Oops. Yep, that's fine. Okay, and let's keep going with another point of hope spent on this maneuver roll. Moving in 8+ mile chunks at a time is quite nice. Certainly much better than moving 2 miles at a time. Yep, that's a success with a 6. So that's 2 bonus dice on the travel roll. That's a success with a 6 again, so that's another 8 miles. Oh, we have something different this time. We've got watchful eyes. Okay. And they are coming. Let's try to seal this passageway and then outpace them. Okay, we manage that, so we erect some sort of well, I guess it's sealed the passageway, so we kind of collapse it, I suppose, or we build at least a big enough barricade that you can't just force your way through it from the other side. You need to like find a way around to dismantle this obstacle we've put up. That is a failure on resisting fatigue, so someone is gonna get a point of that. Toki. Is very slightly fatigued. But let's keep going. That's a success with a 6. No 6s this time, but it is a success, so we just move 6 miles. I kind of want like some great abyss or broken bridge or something that Toki could use to show off his amazing rope skills. I've got the Deadly Dark. Is it the Deadly Dark? Yeah, the Deadly Dark. With Noxious Air. I don't think anyone has anything that would help with detecting noxious air. Nope. So they're just going. I wonder why it's craft to detect noxious air. I suppose expertise will do. Yep, that's all good. So no one is wounded, but we do gain 3 fatigue points. Ugh. It builds up very quickly on the player character. So I'm nearly weary again. Like I'm at 25 fatigue plus load, and I'll be weary. I'll definitely be weary on the journey back if I'm not weary when I get there, which feels very punishing. Like Moria is long enough, is big enough that it's hard to travel around without becoming weary. Yeah. Right. Then the band needs to resist. Yep, that's all fine. So more maneuvering. And then traveling. Yep, that's a success. We move 8 miles. Only 2 miles left. So I won't bother rolling the next time, as you always move at least 2 miles. We have another Deadly Dark thing. We have Crumbling Ruins. So we're moving through like a chamber or a passageway or something, and like maybe the floor starts to give way beneath us, or the ceiling starts to give way, and rubble starts to fall upon us, and we have to dive out of the way. I think the floor gives way, and that a very brave dwarf with a rope needs to help us get across. So this is how Toki is going to have his time to shine. And he'll be wounded if this goes badly. So it is a maneuver plus a die because Toki is helping out with his climbing prowess to traverse this difficult terrain. Yep, that was super good because we got 2 6s. So Toki distinguishes himself. And then we make it our destination. So we came to find and bring back an expeditionary band. So I think we need to determine the condition of these guys. So, I wonder if I can like reuse the condition of the random chamber generator to help decide the condition of this dwarf band. 2, suspiciously intact. I can work with that. Maybe they're thieves. Maybe they were here. Maybe they're not actually so interested in reclaiming Moria. Maybe they just thought, hey, here's an opportunity to go and get some long lost treasures. And so we were sent out to find them because they were long overdue. And we get here and they're like, oh, hey guys, what's up? As they like hide like golden statuettes behind their back and whatnot. So I think we need to. We could make a vigilance roll to spot if that they're being sneaky, or I could just say that we know that. That's maybe more interesting because we don't want to fight them. Let's see, do they outnumber us? I think that's likely. Let's say there's only a 2 in 6 chance that they're of the same size as us. Nope, that's a 2. Okay. So we're kind of equally matched if we were to fight, but we don't want to fight them because there's enough fighting going on in Moria without dwarves fighting dwarves. So we found these guys. They are obviously suspicious. They know that we know they're suspicious. And I think they're probably going to jump us at some point because if we all go back together and we just say to Barlin, "Hey, we found the team. They're obviously stealing stuff," then that's not good for them. If they come back, but if they come back without us, that looks bad for them as well. They might want to try to escape. Let's see, we've gone 40 miles. Let's just imagine this is like straight, like horizontal through Moria. Where would we be? Where's my measuring stick? I've lost my separate measuring stick image. Okay, let's copy this again. Resize this. Must be pretty close to the other side of Moria if we've gone 40 miles. Oops. Yeah, so we're certainly very far away from base camp. And maybe they think they could make a break for West Moria and go out that way. I think we do need to fight these guys. At least beat them into submission and then escort them back. So if they're around the same size as us, I guess in terms of war party size, they're probably like a pack. And I don't think we're going to strike first. I think they're going to try to get the jump on us. So we just have to see if we notice that. So let's make a vigilance roll to see if we notice like 4 dwarves sneaking up behind us with like golden statuettes ready to bonk us on the head. We do notice. Okay. I think neither side really has an advantage there. Okay. So we need to beat these guys into submission so we can bring them back. I think I'm going to try to enhearten my band. Like, come on, men, I know fighting other dwarves isn't what we signed up for. But look, they're taking treasures that rightfully belong to the dwarven people, and so on and so forth. So that is an enheartened roll, which I'm very likely to miss. But if I fail, it's not super bad. It's just a shadow point. Yep, that's a miss. Okay, my heart isn't really in it as I try to encourage my dwarves to attack these other dwarves. And I think it's going to be they're going to adopt a balanced position here. Actually, I'm a small band, so we only have one war. And the enemy is a small band, so probably actually they're more of a patrol than a pack. Because we'll each have this penalty to war. Yeah, let's go with that. And who have I got with me? I think maybe Dari is taking the lead here, but he's not using his weapon of renown to like kill people. He's using it to intimidate them more. So yes, it is a fight, but I'm kind of imagining this is when we're more trying to like disarm and capture and discourage them than we are trying to kill them, because we do want to bring them back. We don't want to be killing dwarves out here. That's a bad roll. Okay, so that's a failure. It's not a failure with an I, it's just a regular failure, so okay. Endurance. Let's check on that. Okay, so yes, that's just a rally roll. And they don't have any might because they're a small enemy like us. Okay, that's a failure. So I said that Dari was taking the lead, so he's going to be the one who takes the consequence. He has a fleeting injury. Okay, next round, I suppose I will fight, seeing that diplomacy has failed. Wow, getting all the awful rolls now. That's a failure. Take 3 fatigue damage. Sorry, not fatigue, endurance damage. Which means I'm now weary. The band is going to be guarded, I think. Actually, I do have fellowship points from Barlin. So let's say that they are balanced, but I'm going to spend a fellowship point. And we'll have Dari taking the lead, and again, we'll also spend a point of hope. That's a success with a 6, so we're going to knock 2 points off their resistance. Han will make some. I need a name for the evil, the thief dwarf. Just find my dwarf name table. But yes, Han will say something cool like, "It's over, Villy. I have the high ground," and Villy and his band of thieves will refuse to surrender. They'll be very unreasonable. I'll have to go through another round of this. So I am fighting again. That is a success. Okay, cool. Not by much, but it is one. So that knocks their resistance down by 1 point. And I've got two sixes, so that's going to make an opening for my band. So I think I need to do the clash roll, because if I fail the clash roll, the enemy might get like a last hit in before they're taken out. But it is looking pretty good. Let's go with balanced. Nah, let's go with guarded this time. So it's going to be favored. 3 dice, don't need any hope or anything this time. Yes, that's all fine. So we have subdued the thieves. We've disarmed them. But now we need to make it back 40 miles. With some guys who probably try to escape at some point. The eye awareness should go up because we just had a fight. So let's try to just rush back. So gonna spend a point of hope on this maneuver roll. Success, no sixes. I think I'll spend a point of hope on my travel roll as well, because that'll get an extra die. We could potentially get another 6. Yes, that's the correct number of dice. What's my target? My target is 17. So that's a success, but it is only 8 miles. I was kind of hoping for 10 or more. Ooh, 2 Eye of Saurons. It's definitely the Deadly Dark. Smoke and flame. Uh-oh. The ground just like cracks open and a blast of heat comes forth. Vigilance. No. Someone is injured by that. Dari now has a moderate injury. Let's travel onwards. Okay, that is a success on the maneuver roll. But again, no sixes. That's really bad. 3, 6, 10. Yeah, that's not 17. We only make it 2 miles this time. Oh, we also had fatigue from the Deadly Dark. That's okay. Right, now we have our second journey interruption. A 4 and a 2. 4 is watchful eyes. And there is a lone scout. So let us attempt to vigilance our way out of this. Yes, we barely make it. But we get the fatigue. And my character is now really weary. I do think I need to house rule this. Player character fatigue. It just seems unfair that the band is so resistant to fatigue. Like, it's really, really hard for them to become fatigued. Like, even then, they've resisted it. So yes, to become fatigued, the band needs to fail rolls, but yeah, let's think this through. So the reason it feels unsatisfying is because the player character will become fatigued just naturally over the course of a long journey, or maybe 2 long journeys. Whereas the band, to become fatigued, you need half the characters rounding up to be I think spent or collapsed. I don't think faltering counts. Let's just double check that. Yeah, faltering doesn't count. So at least half the band needs to be spent or collapsed, and to get there, you need to roll. They need to fail rally rolls to accrue the points of fatigue, and then the points are allocated randomly amongst members of the band. So it will tend to be the case that members of the band, kind of everyone becomes like tired as quickly as everyone else in the band, which means basically half the band will get to the threshold at the same time. I think. I guess the real reason it feels unsatisfying is because in nearly every journey I've done in Moria, my character has become fatigued, and not once has the band become fatigued, because it is so less likely for them to build up fatigue points. So maybe I should start like making travel rolls in the same way that the band makes maneuver rolls to resist fatigue at the point of acquisition rather than at the end. But I'll complete this mission first. Right, so we have our next leg of journey. That's a success with a 6. Yep, success, but no 6s. "24 miles to go." Oops. It's a 6 and a 1. Endlessly branching stairs and passageways. Okay, maddening roads. Vigilance to keep our wits. But we get fatigue. Yep, the band gets some fatigue here. a rare event. That's Dari. So at this point, half the band has a fatigue condition, but they're like well below the point at which actually mattering to be fatigued. So let's continue with our journey. That's a success. Yep, that's more than 17. We've moved 8 miles. So we're not actually going massively slower than before. We just had a bit of bad luck with this 32 to 30 step. Watchful eyes. Another lone scout. Let's try to vigilance this guy away. We succeed. Ten, 15. Yep, that succeeds the fatigue check. So now we make our next maneuver roll to keep moving. Then a travel roll. Yep, that's a success, and we're moving 10 miles. Four watchful eyes and a nameless fear. We need to outrun something. We feel something pursuing us that should not be. So it's going to be another maneuver roll. Yep. Then we continue traveling. That's a failure. So we only moved 2 miles this time. I think that was Watchful Eyes again. Yep, Watchful Eyes again. And another graven image, which we must tear down with expertise. 5. Yep. Yep, we resist that fatigue easily. So more maneuvering. And that is a success with 2 6s. That's very nice. So I am weary, which I've forgotten about on a bunch of these rolls. So let's move away these dice. That's an 18 with 6. So we move 8 miles. We make it back. Okay. Right. So we've made it back to Barlin, and we hand over these guys. So let's note this down. I suppose it took place over multiple days because it was a very long journey. I should really have said we stopped to take a rest at some point. I mean, to have another long fellowship phase to recover this fatigue, like, this is a long time. Like, I guess let's have a 3-week fellowship phase. But yes, I definitely think that needs to be house ruled. So, do I have a list of house rules? Here we go. Okay, so Toki can become hardened this time. We're gonna get some points. Okay, recover all hope. Up to 17. Recover my endurance. 28. Having a 3-week break, so I only have 2 fatigue left. Cover no gifts are wasted. I'm not wounded. Clear all injury and fatigue conditions. Can perform 2 undertakings. Let's see. Did we recover any shadow? I don't think we interfered with the return of the shadow at all here. Oh, totally forgot. Last fellowship phase needs a roll to see if there's an interruption, rather. Nope, no fellowship interruption. Okay, let's make a law roll. So it's favored. We've got 2 dice from the law skill and 2 from our brazen head. We need to get 3 successes overall to find the rough location of Durin the First's tomb. That's 1 success. Sure, let's do another one. That's 3 successes in total. Okay, we roughly know where Durin's tomb is. Let's note all this down. So we have got a clue to the location of Durin's tomb. So that'll be the next mission to pick up. Oops, we've got 2 there. Which I think we'll pick up next time rather than begin it now. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what effect this house rule on the fatigue has, because it's probably apparent, but honestly, I've not really been enjoying the journey rules that much in this system. It feels very punishing for the player character, whilst also being very lenient for the NPCs. And it also feels like we're rolling on... so that's what this may resolve. But it also feels very... feels like we're rolling on these like event tables a lot, and there's just not enough here. Like each... like there are what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 types of thing that can happen, and each has 6 options. So that's 36 possible encounters, but in practice, because we're rolling this ill-favored, we're concentrated towards the lower end of the table. And then it's also felt like we just rolled a lot of duplicates. Like the Watchful Eyes, I got like 3 Lone Scouts this session. And like 2 Graven Images. So I've hit Watchful Eyes a lot. And I mean, that's because this table isn't uniform. Like, it's skewed towards certain results, which just makes it feel, more repetitive. So that won't be resolved by changing how fatigue points are accrued. I'm not really sure how to resolve it. I have the same complaint really with the journey rules in the base game. So if we go look at that, the journey rules here, we have the same sort of thing where when there is a problem, I think I've already scrolled past it. Yeah, when there's a problem, we roll on these 2 tables here. So we roll a d6 to determine who is affected, which will also determine what skill must be used to overcome it. And then we roll a d12 to determine what sort of thing happens. So I guess it's kind of even more limited in the base game because there's only 3 possible skills you might use, whereas it's at least a little bit more varied in the solo Moria rules. But yeah. Yes, they're not really that interesting. I agree. I guess my feeling of Moria as a whole is it has a bunch of cool locations, but it doesn't really do much for making it feel like a huge location. Like, the places in Moria are more like small. They're kind of like small adventure sites, and I don't feel that the actual experience of journeying in Moria really feels like you're traveling through a huge ruined dwarven city. So I'll definitely get follow this campaign through to the end. I mean, we're not that far off, and there's 3 quests left to go. There's finding the tomb of Durin the First, searching the last redoubt of the dwarves, and then recovering Durin's axe. But yeah, I'm not super impressed by the experience of playing in Moria, I guess, which is a bit sad because Moria should be a really cool location. Wow, that's a bit of a downer to end the session on. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. It's interesting, but not as good as it could be. I mean, I guess my main other point of comparison, just to like bring it up on screen, is I am running in my home game Ardenvool, which is a huge dungeon. And so kind of going from this like massive like D&D style dungeon where everything is very detailed and there's a lot of lore, and like if you want to get from point A to point B, like you can look at the map and see, oh, these are exactly the obstacles in the way, to going into Moria, which is much more abstract. Like, you have these kind of points of interest but not really any detail between them. It's a very different experience. But yes, that's that. So Monday, back to Morkin, where I will continue my journey and hopefully get the rules right this time. And then Friday next week will be back to Moria. Would I stream Ardenvool? I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would want to stream my home game, as it's just me and my friends playing it. I feel it would be very, very hard to do as a solo game, because a lot of what makes Ardenville fun is kind of figuring out what's going on, and obviously I know everything that's going on. So I think it would make sense to yeah, it's just a normal dungeon, just a very very big one. So I think it would like streaming Ardenville would make sense as like a campaign with other players. But yeah, that's that. So I will see you next time for Morkin Monday.